everybody. Welcome to the ride. Hey, welcome to Monday. Welcome to Monday, guys. Welcome to the Monday ride. Sorry, we're about 7 minutes late, and I take real licks for that. But anyway, I got to thank you guys. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope the weekend was good. Hope you had a great time. It's Ridealong, shediting. Share the live, guys, right now. Put it on your page. Put it live on your page. Say, I share. Share the program. Put it on your page. Hey, Joan Duncan, how you doing? Marine Francois, buenos dias. Ridealong, 6 p.m. again. Yes. Kalisa Sylvester, big up yourself. Harold Chaitan from Toronto, big up yourself. Lionel Tafari, I see you. Put it on your page and say, I share. Put the program on your page and say, I share. Nadine Bartholomew, how you doing? I share. Lydia James says she share already. Guys, if you're that's the first time you're watching the program, what you have to do is put the program on your page, share the program, and say, I share. Share the program and say, I share. And Alicia Charles in Toronto, big up yourself. Hazel Jordan, I share, big up yourself. Hola, ¿cómo está? Por todos mis amigos y mis amigas que habla español. Buenos días. O buenas noches, sorry. Lo siento. Winsor, how are you doing? Big up yourself. Miss Wilson in Brooklyn, big up yourself. Jill B. Harry, big up yourself. Share the thing, guys. Listen, and you know this program is all about the love, right? So this is what I want you guys to do right now. Press the love. Just keep pressing love. Keep pressing love. Keep pressing love. Keep pressing it. Press it. No. Keep pressing the love, guys. Keep pressing the love. Yeah. Keep pressing the LOVE. Press it. Rosa Smith, I see you. Nah. I don't like all the pressing love, you know. Like one today, one tomorrow. All the pressing like if all your minute now. Press the love like if all your minute now. Wayne Francis, big up yourself. Sheena, how you doing, Sheena? Sheena, you in Jamaica. Nice that you could join us. Thank you so much, Sheena. Fun Lover Thompson, you say, I am here. No, boy, it's not I am here, it's I share. Get it right. Harold Chaitan, big up yourself. Haroline Joseph, big up yourself. Gail Charles, big up yourself. Guys, press the love. 1, 2, 3, press the love. I feel like I did a party, Jen. Raise your hand, raise your foot, press the love. Mary Smith, El Boogie, how you doing? Andrew Leslie, big up yourself. Wayne, I share. Guys, share the program. Lady Spice, the beautiful Lady Spice. Jab Princess Kelly's, how you doing? Hey, share the thing. Guys, today we have a very interesting and important program for you. A very, very interesting program for you. I want to make sure and line up, make sure everything is coming in clear. We got all the guests. Everybody's ready for you. Let me just make this little alternation right here to make sure that we're good to go. We good to go? Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, we're good to go. Good to go. Yes, man, that's what I'm talking about. We're good to go. Hey, Trina, how you doing? Guys, let me tell all you, I want to dedicate a large part of the program contributing to the topic of discussion today. I'm happy that you guys could join us because I think that this is a discussion that needs to be had. And we went to great lengths. And I got to thank Sheena Carty, she's in Jamaica right now, for assisting us in putting this discussion together. She put me in touch with the guests that we're going to have on the program today, and hopefully this discussion will be a very important discussion that not only end here on Ride Along, but it would take the discussion into the political realm where people could make a difference, and that's what we're looking for a difference after this program is aired. That's why today we're joined by 3 of the best in the business that could come on any forum. 3 of the top advocate, police officers, ex-soldiers, humanitarian. A combination of all these people are joining us here today. All the way over to the left, we have Mr. St. Clair. He's an ex-soldier. Let me give him all his credit where credit is due, because he definitely has done a lot. He is an ex-soldier, Mr. Claude St. Clair, an ex-soldier, ex-police officer. He's a motivational speaker, and he is joining us here today. Also, next to him, we have Mr. Chopper John West. He is joining us here as well to join in this discussion. And right next to him, we have Alan Anderson, former police officer in Jamaica. Guys, welcome to Ride Along for your very first time. We thank you guys for taking the opportunity to share this hour of discussion with us. Welcome, guys.
Greetings. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, let's start. Let's start it off, guys. If you may, if you could do the honors, starting with let me fix Claude video over there. Make sure Claude video is looking good. Claude, how you doing? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm feeling fantastic to be in the company of greats.
Yes.
People who love my country just as much as I love my country.
Yes.
And want the best for this country, because they themselves know that we're great people. And it's an honor for me on this forum.
Absolutely. And Chopper, how are you doing today? Just introduce yourself briefly to our viewing global audience, sir.
Doing very well, guys. The feeling is mutual, Claude. Good to be in the company of some great folks, great Jamaicans, and I'm assuming that, well, not assuming, I know that all of us pretty much is singing from the same hymn book. We all want to find solutions. I'm not one of the ex-security personnel. I have no claim to be. I'm not a police officer. Neither was I. I think what most people know, I'm noted to be, in some circles, anti-police, which is grossly misinterpreted, as John will explain to you.
Yes.
I take a particular stand as it relates to security force in Jamaica, and I'm one of the persons who advocate strongly for the dismantling of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, rebuild, retool, retrain, rebrand for a better Jamaica.
Yes, absolutely. And right over there, last but certainly not least, Mr. John Anderson. If you could just give us some of your resume listing real quick, John.
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. John Anderson is the name, as everyone will know by now. I joined the Jamaica Constabulary Force the 23rd of November 2002, where I served 14 long, hard years. I left the Constabulary Force December 21st, I think, of 2016. I served numerous divisions. First, I was sent to the St. Andrew North Division, where I had the privilege of being a part of the community policing project in Grandspen for a couple of years. I was part of a specialized section in 2006 all the way to 2011. I moved from St. Andrew North, which is known as Constant Spring in layman terms, to Spanish Town. I served over by Spanish Town for a year.
Yes.
And then I left Spanish Town. I came to Clarendon Division, and I served a couple of months of Clarendon Division before I was assigned as the close protection officer for a government minister, where I served my last 5 years of the force.
Right. All right. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna get straight into it, guys. We're not gonna bounce around the topic. There's a big elephant in the room, and I think it needs to be discussed. Recently, your Prime Minister, Honorable Andrew Holness, has signed a petition on the state of emergency in Montego Bay. From your point of view, guys, whoever want to take this one, how did we get here? How did we get to this point where it's about 20 or so days, 21 days into the year, and over 100 murders? What happened? How did we get to this point? John, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can kick it off.
Okay.
I think, I've lived in almost, I've lived in all the different counties in Jamaica. I wouldn't say I lived in every parish, but I've visited every single parish. I've worked in inner city communities for many years. I was a president of a football club. I was a part of the Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association. So I'm not saying that to say that I've exposed myself and I've been exposed to inner city communities, rural communities, and upper St. Andrew, so to speak. We are where we are. This didn't happen over the last 5 years, neither the last 10 years. The whole social fabric of the society has decayed since the 1970s, if you ask. And what has happened is that the political undertone, I mean, it's sad to say, but politics has played an integral role in how this country has been, deteriorating. I think what we have seen since the 1970s, coming into the 80s, we have not had any leader that is willing, and I shouldn't say we didn't have any leader. I think we have had some people who have taken a shot at it, but we haven't had any single leader who can mobilize the entire country,
yes,
to agree on the fight against crime. The fight against crime in Jamaica needs a tough approach. Jamaica is not like every terrain in the Caribbean, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. So what works in some countries in the Caribbean definitely cannot work in Jamaica. And John and Claude, as two people who've worked integrated in the security forces, will tell you it needs a certain tough, heavy stand, and we have not had that kind of leadership yet. Because what I have seen in my years is you've seen politicians who have to be measuring their approach to crime, because there's also a political capital that has to be guarded or guided.
yeah,
So most of the decisions that we make in Jamaica to fight crime is heavily influenced by what backlash that could come back from the political aspect of it. And I think that is a significant part of it. We could go deeper into the different political parties and their contribution to where we are today. I don't know if we want to go that far, but what I will say to you is that what pertains today is definitely coming from a lack of a separation of political. Let us put it down to political will.
yeah,
Because if you can sacrifice your political capital and take it on full force, then I think it would have been solved already. We have Mr. Andrew Holness now, who has been taking some measures. In my mind, it's a little too late, and it's a little bit shy of what is necessary. If you look at the state of emergency that has been called, it is still not tough enough. It's what you call a partial state of emergency,
right,
for lack of a better word.
right,
They said it's a national state of emergency, which is what we're calling for, a national state of emergency. But instead, what we got was a limited state of emergency. Now, even though a limited state of emergency or a state of emergency in Jamaica is perhaps the toughest measure that can come from a government, it still was watered down to a limited state of emergency.
yeah,
And that, to me, is giving the wrong signal to the society, because it has been growing over the years, and it need that approach. It need that Lee Kuan Yew approach. It need a zero tolerance approach. And I don't know if anybody has come forward who is willing to spend the political capital that is needed to be spent in order to stamp out corruption and crime in Jamaica.
So are we saying that the crime could be directly linked to politics, to the political structure of Jamaica right now? Are we making that correlation?
Without a doubt. and I don't think any one of my colleagues would disagree. Crime in Jamaica has always had a political connection. What in the 70s, what you had was politicians issuing guns. You don't have that anymore. But why would you still say that there's a political connection? Because if you look at how crime, the players of crime, the big guys, I'm not talking about the guy who's caught down the street with an AK-47 or a 9mm pistol. A lot of these guys, the guys on the panel will tell you, some of these guys cannot afford it. How did they get it? You know? Right. So we have to start to look at the purveyors, the persons who are providing these ammunitions and guns to the youngsters.
Well, let me pose that over to John. John, you've been there on the front line battling crime also. Sinclair, you have been there as well. But John, in your fighting crime on the streets of Jamaica on a day-to-day basis, what are some of the incidents that you come across, and what do you correlate it to? Is it that gangs? Is it predominantly drugs? Why all these guns and why all this crime on the street?
All right. One of the things that we know about Jamaica over the years is that the minute any of the underworld, what do you call it? It has a name. The money that they make in the underworld has a particular name. And the minute you remove one, another will resurface. Meaning, say in the 90s it was cocaine, the shipping of cocaine, and you're able to clamp down on the shipping of cocaine. It moves to the shipping of ganja. You clamp down on the shipping on ganja, it moves to the
scrap metal.
The scrap metal. You clamp down on the scrap metal, it moves to a lot of scamming.
Scamming.
Right.
You get understand? And each one, the guys have been able to manipulate the system more or to master the system more, and therefore having a higher inflow of money. Now, when Chopper made reference to these guys not able to purchase these firearms, it's a serious matter, because my knowledge of the underworld will tell me that one 9mm ammunition will cost $100 a piece, and yet you're finding one entire knapsack bag of 1,500 ammunition inside of it. So you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent on ammunition, moreover the firearm itself. So these guys are getting smarter with what they're doing. They are being helped because crime pays, you know. Right? Don't be fooled. Crime pays. So if you look at it, where a lot of scamming is concerned, the information that is garnered from a lot of scamming it's the regular guy who's sitting in a corner smoking weed can't get that information. He got it from somewhere inside an entity, an agency, right? So we can't name an agency now because we have to be careful, but I know for a fact, as a matter of fact, I can say this because it came out on the news the other day. I think Western Union had made like $100 million available to persons in the United States who have been scammed because the information that was given out to the scammers came from Western Union entity. So it's not Western Union themselves are involved, but the persons who work in Western Union were involved, and therefore Western Union took responsibility of allowing the information of their clients to get out to these criminals. So I'm saying these guys have been aided left, right, and center by different persons, different entity, and they use any means necessary to push forward their whole mayhem in society. So it's not about drugs alone. It's not about I remember there was the drugs or guns trade with Haiti that was proliferant in the past probably 2-3 years. And I mean, and without the necessary resources for the Marine police and the JDF to man our waters properly, it's like they can just literally, it's water so they can't walk, but literally just walk across the border, hand over some ganja and come back with a whole boat full of guns. So
Yeah,
This situation is widespread.
and what you're saying is widespread, right? But I'm looking at the statistic. I threw that over at Sinclair over there. It doesn't look widespread throughout the entire Jamaica because it's so disproportional, right? When you look at places like St. James, for instance, and the amount of crime that happens there versus the amount of crime that happened in Kingston Central, and for 2017, St. Catherine North and St. Andrew North, and those places, the crime is not what it is in St. James, so it's disproportionate. What is happening in Montego Bay, that part of Montego Bay, that make it such a hot spot?
It is at this point in time, it is centrally surrounding the lotto scamming and the disproportionate sharing of funds that is garnered by lotto scamming. And as well, I mean, I have never worked in the St. James division before, so I'm giving a second-hand information that probably would have been passed on to me. But I do know for a fact that St. James and Westmoreland, by extension, because of the integral role that they play in the lotto scamming and the way in which the money is not being shared accordingly are rightfully amongst the criminal elements. This is what has caused this entire mayhem to go along. This is probably why it has gone along for so long, because persons are saying it's criminal killing criminal. But it doesn't really matter. Life is a life, and it must stop somewhere. It has to stop.
Sinclair, what's your thoughts on it? Why is it so disproportionate?
First, I must say, right, this influx of violence that we've been having and experiencing just didn't start in the 70s. Remember, Jamaica is a violent country. 3 different countries fought for this country. The British fought for Jamaica, the French fought for Jamaica, and the Spanish fought for Jamaica. There's a lot of blood on this island. Now, if you take that forward into the 60s, when they come up with the spaghetti western, we became in love with the gun. Jamaicans are in love with guns. And then in the 70s, when the politicians, I won't call their name, but 2 particular politicians brought the influx of guns to fight these political war, it gets worse. Fast forward now into 2017, last year, when we had 1,618 people killed. We have youngsters who are misguided youngsters, who lack proper parenting, who lack proper skills. If you look at our workforce, the women are on top. They're the president, the this, the that, they're in charge. And our young boys are just left out there on the streets. Lot of scamming plays a role, yes, but it's not entirely responsible for what is happening to our youngsters. I'm a motivational speaker. I go out into the streets, into the garrisons of Kingston, mostly, and I see lack of proper parenting as one of the root cause. Then, remember the days when it takes a village to raise a child. All that is swept out the door. There's no punishment going on in the school. Our Prime Minister said he wants to remove corporal punishment. So you're not seeing a village raising a child anymore. People are scared to even look at a youngster and reprimand him. So you find out that everything just deteriorates over a period of time. In Montego Bay, because I lived in Montego Bay for many years, I have a house in Montego Bay. I know the city inside out. Montego Bay was one of the most quietest, beautiful second city you could ever imagine. Mount Salem was a distance from where I was. Glendevon is walking. I went to Albion School. Green Pond, I know every area. Sour Spring, all the areas of Montego Bay. I know them very well.
Yeah.
They used to have gangs, of course. Little tribal war here and there, a man fling a buckle and so on. But latter scamming, the amount of money that was flowing into the parish, it brings in that love for gun.
Yeah, but you said, well, hold on, not to cut you there, but you said,
and then one more thing, and then the music.
Yeah.
The dancehall music that glorifies these gangster lifestyle. These brothers want to act out exactly what these artists sing. And I'm not going to call a name, but these are popular artists that says, 4 rifle lean up on the wall, man marrow for fly, this for jump on the tar. Most of the dancehall artists glorify badness.
Yeah.
Jamaican youths, they love that. They figure if you're a bad man, you can get more girls. You're more popular. It's all about that. It's all about a fad.
Yeah.
They're not even scared anymore.
And
They are breaking attacks left, right, and center.
and to a large part, I understand that, because even in the music where you have a lot of the artists not only glorifying gangster and stuff like that, they glorify the areas of Jamaica that have the highest crime, and they don't glorify places like St. Catherine and those places who don't have the highest crime, which they should, because they should be singing because
Nobody singing about the beautiful waterfalls.
Exactly.
right.
Nobody singing about the beautiful scenery on the 7 mile of White Sand Beach that we have. Everybody singing about big up. They say big up Klansman gang, big up all the necessary. Every gang. Most of the gang that I knew the name, and I knew through the music.
Yeah.
The name of the gang that I got familiar with, some of them I knew through the music. Because I can't stay in Clarendon and I know the name of a gang all the way in Westmoreland.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But listen to a song from an artist from the West, and he will tell you everything that gang does. And I can tell you this. When I work at Constant Swing Police Station, if Chopper remember the days of the conflict between Movado and Vibes Cartel,
Yes.
I can tell you personally, what they sing in the song is what they have acted out.
Exactly.
Right? I remember responding to a shooting that happened at Cassava Peace, where a man had to jump over a gully, and I got information about the vehicle that did the shooting was a BMW. And lo and behold, a song came out. The gentleman said, I drive past and I'm a BMW and shoot off, or you have to jump in a gully. It is something that he did, and he put it in the music. And these are the things that are glorified every day. And because of that, that's the reason that's the reason I believe in social intervention. But I believe Jamaica is at a stage now where, as Chopper said, you have to take a hard, firm approach first before you can build on it. Because guess what? As I said before, if you build a brand new hotel in St. James today, and the purpose of the hotel is to employ gangsters and gangsters only, and you're paying them twice the amount of money that you pay any low-income earner, and you tell them, put down the guns, come here and work, I can guarantee you that you're probably finding only one person, and you're providing 1,000 jobs. Because guess what? They don't want to work for it. Working for it is not in their mind. Because when they have the AK-47 and the M16 and they can do the scamming, they can get $100,000 in a day, in a week. Why am I gonna leave that to go for $10,000? It's a quick fix. Some of these guys know they're not living past 25 years old and they don't care.
Exactly.
Right. I want to touch on that. Let me just ask a question, a follow up to Claude. Your phone. Nice ringtone there, Chopper. I like it.
My apologies, guys.
No problem. He said. Sinclair said earlier that Jamaica is they like the guns, right? But check this, right? In 1962, right, when Jamaica became independent, the murder rate was 3.9 per every 100,000.
100,000.
Which was the lowest in the world. So at that point, there was the same Jamaican people with the same vibe or love for whatever they love for. But look at 2017 when the crime rate jumped 1,600. We are 21 days into the new year and it's already over 100. So it has to be more than just the love for gun. It has to be something that happened within that time that spiked crime.
Yeah, but remember, in 1962 on, there was no gun songs here. With nothing but real nice, beautiful music, social because that's what the dancehall was all about. You might hear a Bob Marley, a Peter Tosh, a Bunny Wheeler. They all sing about their experiences in the jungle, but there was no war.
But give me a second, my brother. Give me a second. I'm glad you choose to ask the question the way you did, because it now brings out the point that I've been trying to bring up for the longest while.
Yeah. So
let me get to it. One of the other things, and even though crime, people have a way of using stats, which is stats is how you see history and is how you know how to move forward. But I'm saying to you, in 2014, which was 4 years ago, murder was at 1,005 for the entire 2014. I am saying to you, gradually from 2014 up until 2017, the crime has, as a matter of fact, 2015 wasn't, I don't think 2015 was a big jump, or 2016, but it made a big jump from, I think, 1,300 in 2016 to 1,600 in 2017.
Yes.
And I'm saying to you, the fight is not being brought to the criminals anymore. There's no need for that great. The police officers are more than reluctant to bring the fight to the criminal elements anymore because of the repercussions that follows. There's no two-way about it. There's no three-way about it.
So it's interesting because I want to get Chopper on this one as well. John, you did a video, a very popular video that hit social media, broke the internet. A lot of people probably saw the video where you spoke about Indicom, and Indicom, which is the police of the police. This is the organization that police the police, right? Yes. And to a lot of people, an organization like Indicom is a very important organization because in the United States, where you have police brutality, where police kill black people all over the place, and most of the times you don't have a really strong agency that police the police and prosecute the police. Police get off all the time. So Indicom in a lot of ways serve as a conduit to ensure that police don't go ahead and do anything they want. Right. But you were very vocal against Indicom because of personal things that you've seen, that you know. Give us an idea. Give us your first-hand knowledge of Indicom and how you think Indicom is preventing police officers from doing what they're supposed to do in fighting crime.
First and foremost, any sensible police will admit that there is a place for Indicom in Jamaica, because if you are doing your job right, then there's no problem with having an oversight body. So let's get that out the way. I personally support that Indicom, just not this Indicom with the authority that they have. Now, what I brought to the attention of the people, of the public, are just things that I know for a fact. Now, first and foremost, Indicom was given the authority to arrest, to investigate, and to prosecute police officers. There is no democratic country in the entire world that has any single agency that has all three authorities. The awesome authorities of doing all of that together. There's no other agency in the entire world that has that. That's the first thing I want to bring to your attention. Secondly, when the parliamentarians made the Indicom Act, they made a loophole that breaches the fundamental rights of police officers. And let me tell you, in the Indicom Act, it says you must, Section 33 of the Indicom Act indicates that you must cooperate with Indicom in any request given with regards to anything material to the investigation. I'm speaking on top of my head.
Right.
But in your Charter of Fundamental Rights, it says that you should not, no one should be forced to give or should be requested to give any statement or report that implicates themselves.
Right.
You're protected from self-implication.
Right.
But I can show you a document right this minute where Indicom has written officers directing them to give them a statement, not even a report, a written statement about a report that was made against them, an accusation against them. Now, isn't that causing me as a police officer to self-implicate? Yeah. Because guess what's the other power they have? If I say to you, honestly, this happened from last year and I do not remember, Indicom can say that I'm lying, and they're still going to charge me for lying to an Indicom officer. Can you imagine? So you're caught between a rock and a hard place at all times with Indicom. That is one of the things. Another thing, when Indicom just came about, I remember blatantly, there was a shooting in, I think it was at Kingston West, and Indicom went on the scene where the police officers are. Right, first and foremost, they require you to remain on the scene of the shooting. Fine. So that you can bring them through what happened, so they can have a better understanding as to how to investigate, or how to direct the investigation. That's fine by me. But the Indicom officer who went on the scene demanded of the police officers who were still at work, still in uniform, and miles away from the police station, to hand over the firearm in which they were involved in the shooting.
Hold on. The police officer is asked to hand over the firearm to the Indicom?
Hand over all firearms. Not one, not two, all. No.
You ever wonder why? You ever wonder why that happened though?
Yeah, well,
we reached the stage.
yeah, right. So go ahead, John.
Why we reached that level?
Go ahead.
Where, where the government, and this is both parties, both political movement and social and civil society, came to a conclusion that this kind of power that has been given to Indicom was necessary. Now, let's go back to Indicom came about in 2010.
2010, yes.
Let's go back to from 2004 onwards up to 2010. We were ranking somewhere in the 1990s and early 2000s. We had per year some 400 plus police killings. Police killings where police would kill a civilian, whether they are innocent or guilty, we don't know.
Yes.
Because there was no credible, there was police investigating police. There was a standard statement that would have been issued every time there's a shooting. Any one of these gentlemen could tell you off the top of their head right now what that standard report would have been to the media. Well, a shootout ensue, 2 men get shot, one escaped in nearby bushes, a 9mm semi-automatic pistol with 12 live rounds. Just a standard every single shooting.
Yeah. I've read report that say the same thing as well. It's just like it everything read the same in all cases.
So let me tell you something. Because we have that excess amount of killings, extrajudicial killing, it got so bad that Jamaica could not purchase ammunition for its police and soldiers. I don't know if you know that.
No, I know that personally.
We were barred
by the US from purchasing
international market.
Yes, no, I understand.
We were at the top of the list of Amnesty International for extrajudicial killing. We were being sanctioned left, right, and center. The European Union, Canada, the United States, everybody was at us. Not because we had gang violence in Jamaica, because we had police killing civilians. Indicom came about in 2010, and the extrajudicial killing fell by about 400%. While I will agree with John that Indicom, the powers that has been given to Indicom need to be addressed or adjusted. There's some amendments that is needed. I must say to you that position didn't come about because somebody just get up one night and decide to give Indicom powers. It came about because the trust within the police force has gone to way below zero. There are good police out there like John.
Yeah.
But the bad police had done so much damage. Look here, let's go back to that crawl incident in Jamaica. Anybody remember that crawl case?
Yeah, with Andrew.
That case was heavily investigated, was heavily politicized, publicized. Okay? And we knew what happened. The police officers who were involved in the killing and in the shooting got away scot-free. And if you remember the evidence that was brought forward, and look, this is not me, I made this up, it's out there. The evidence that came says that the police officers went to a community, shot some people, whether they were bad men or not, I don't know. And that's beside the point. Because a police officer, whether you're bad or good, a police officer does not have the right to kill you. He has the right to apprehend you, find whatever ways there is to apprehend you, and bring it to justice. No, I understand that there are circumstances where police will have to use excessive force. However, in that particular case, it came out in the trial that there was no guns on the scene. And we all knew what happened. When the investigation, this is the heaviest investigative cases that I know of in Jamaica, you know. And it was brought up that there were guns coming from particular areas in Jamaica brought to that scene to be placed on the victims.
Mm.
So, and we can couple that with the Britain 7, the 7 youngsters that were killed in Britain. If you go back to that again, all of these things
Yeah.
is what brought us now to the
Indicom.
level where the police force
Yes.
is no longer respected by none of the two political parties
Yes.
and none of civil society, nor the Jamaican public on a whole.
Let-
They have lost respect.
Yeah. Let
And
me
it's
just
not because
go ahead. Go ahead.
the entire force have bad people, but the entire force is contaminated. There's a difference between it is contaminated.
Yeah.
If you poison water, once there's poison in that water, it doesn't matter what end of the stream you are. The water is poison. The police force has brought this onto themselves, and it is becoming so obvious to the extent that just this very state of emergency was a clear evidence that the government has no confidence in the police force.
Yeah. And
The powers of the state of emergency was given to the military.
yeah.
The police hands are tied with Indicom, and I will agree with John on that. So how do we expect them to fight crime when we have all these elements playing? It's not going to happen. And somebody have to take the tough decision and realize the only time that Jamaica is going to get out of this quagmire is the day the political directorate acknowledge that there's a problem with the trust within the police force and fix it.
Yeah, let me just put that in there. I know you guys itching to respond. I know Claude is itching to respond as well. Guys, you're watching Ride Along. It's a live discussion here on the state of emergency that's happening in Jamaica right now. The Prime Minister has issued a state of emergency in a narrow area in Montego Bay called St. James, the parish of St. James, but it's isolated to that particular area. And I'll show this one out there because I was speaking to Sheena earlier and it was very interesting, right? So we have a state of emergency that's in St. James. That doesn't mean that the criminal will stay in St. James prior to the state of emergency. Is there instances where now we're seeing additional crimes happening in other places that are not under state of emergency, like I'll pick one.
St. Catherine.
Like St. Catherine, who has a very low murder rate.
That's not true.
Right?
That's not true. St. Catherine murder rate is not low.
Okay, let's look at St. Catherine. For St. Catherine North, in 2007, there was 28. Right, it jumped in 2006. In 2016 it was 146, and it dropped in 2017.
That's not low.
Huh?
Well, it's low compared to
What's low compared to St. James? St. James is 300 and 400.
Right, but hold on, guys. Let's put it into perspective. Still, having 140 something murder in any division.
Exactly.
In any division is high.
Is high.
Anything over 100, because remember when they say St. Catherine North, St. Catherine itself has 2 divisions. It has St. Catherine South, that encompasses Portmore and all that side, and then there's St. Catherine North, which is Spanish Town, Linstead, all that side, Central Village, all of that. When you have 147 murders in any division, believe me, it is not comparable to 300 and odd in St. James. But it's still awfully high.
Well, the point I'm trying to drive. Okay, let's look at St. Thomas, right? Let's look at 21 murders, and I mean any murder.
That is low.
That is low. Any murder is horrible. Any killing, the families that is lost. But what I'm saying is because there is a state of emergency in Montego Bay, the parish of St. James. Now the criminal, of course, would know that there will be heightened military forces there, but that gives them a perfect opportunity to just move out of it just for the time, because the state of emergency is not nationwide, it's isolated and it's only for a short space of time. So are we seeing that? St. Clair, you on the ground in Jamaica, are you seeing other crimes happening outside of that state of emergency area as to affect other areas?
All right, I don't think we have much time though, but what I think we should start addressing is the solution.
Well, yeah, it's important that we start addressing the solution, and we will.
Country. If you have crime in a country, who you think you have to address? You have to address the people. You have to fix the people. If you do not fix the people, then you cannot fix crime. Because crime is caused by the people. Social intervention is highly needed. There's no community centers, there's no youth program for youngsters. They're just there on the street corner digging out their hand middle. You can see them all over. There's not much going on to attract these youngsters anymore. Hence, we have 257 gangs with another 40 gangs forming in Jamaica.
Right.
So we have
Claude,
the people.
Claude,
Yes.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on fixing the people. But when it comes to opportunities for youngsters, there's a lot, There's really a lot of opportunities, I don't think a lot of young people take it up. Let me tell you something what is fueling this crime.
Yes.
You see, anytime Jamaica create a system where the possibility of you getting caught, listen to me carefully, when you commit a crime, as it is now, the possibility of you getting caught is about 2%. 98% you might go free. Let's just put it for that for now. If we can reverse that, where there's a 95% chance of you getting caught when you commit a crime, that in of itself is going to be a game changer. If you know that you go down the road and you shoot somebody, you are going to be caught, and not just caught, because police have caught a lot of criminals.
Yes.
The justice system.
Justice system is clogged. It's clogged.
It clogs up and
And
fueling criminality.
and
Because
if
when somebody commits a crime and John go out there or Todd go out there and apprehend the guy, bring him in. And the justice system, by way of the Constitution, it says you must give him bail. And you get bail. And you go out there and kill the witness. Right?
and that is
If the
exactly what is
witness got
happening.
killed, somebody's going to reprise
Exactly.
your family. So it's a revolving door because the justice system is clogged up. What we need to do is to go on a serious campaign. And we're talking about solutions here.
Yes.
You need to go on a serious campaign. And you can, look here, a crackhead, a person who's on dope, can only get help if he or she acknowledge that he's on dope.
Yeah.
If the government acknowledge and accept that the justice system
Needs
is
fixing.
causing a severe problem
Yeah.
in this fighting against crime, we can fix it.
I agree.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. And going to the justice system, because it's just not an easy task. Let me tell you. And I'm going to use this, and not even going to go back to history. I'm going to use this current state of emergency that is happening now to show you that it's going to take, as we have initially said, a firm approach to this thing, a decisive approach, because people are not going to easily come forward to be a witness to any crime, right? And this is even shown in the opportunity. Now they have a hotline to call the JDF to give information as to where to recover guns. And they're not even doing that because, of course, the gangsters are not putting all the guns in one place. And if they don't do that, then when police recover 3 of the guns, and they go back and they find the gangster go back and find him last gun, so to speak. He might say, well, it's only Susie from over this and Mary from over this, and Tom and down this and know some gun there.
Exactly.
So him go shoot up the people and kill them, over and gun them. And therefore people rather be quiet and stay at the right hand of the monster than to come forward and try and fight it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the reason I'm saying there has to be a decisive approach to this thing. Because people not going to readily just come forward and give up them life just for the sake of fighting crime. They rather turn a blind eye because at the end of the day the consequences may be greater to them as an individual than they thinking about the parish or the country at large. So there are several angles to look at this thing from. Because, I mean, already we have occupied this space for probably a week now. And in a week we have only been able to recover 2 guns, one which was left for us because of the funeral procession.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the mere fact, Chopper and I had this conversation. How can you be occupying the space as the military and the police and men saw it fit to push gun in their waist and attend a funeral still?
Exactly.
It shows that something is
crazy.
inevitably wrong with the society.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? No, I know that we're not going to push. Nobody can just get up and say, all right, listen, the decisive action we need to take is this. But I can tell you this, gentlemen, if we don't stand firm on our foot as a society to fight this crime, it can't be a handshake, it can't be a hello, sir, come and hand over your firearm, it can't be none of that. I'm sure the PM have tried already with this. No, I think it was Dr. Carl Williams who implemented some exchange for gun for something a couple of years ago. It didn't work out.
Yes.
It started out okay and it just dropped then. Right? So no matter what you do, you have to just decide that you're going to either weed out, get rid of, totally eradicate some of these guys, or else you're going to always have the problem because there's no fear factor for them, and they're the one putting the fear in the society. So they will always be on top. They will always be ruling. So all them do know, I hear you ask the question of them leaving to another parish. They're not going anywhere. Use the funeral procession as an example. They're not going anywhere. All they do is sit back in their house and watch you come. Because guess what? You have to observe the human rights. You have to say hello, sir, good morning. May I have a search of a person? Of course,
you don't have to.
No, you don't have to. In the state of emergency, it doesn't give you that. It doesn't give you that. The state of emergency, they don't have to. They don't have to have no warrant. Yeah, in this state of emergency, hold on.
That's why we can't get nowhere with it.
Yeah, but exactly my point.
Fight crime with human rights.
Somebody has to give up your rights in order for you to fight the crime.
You forfeit your human rights.
But
when you're a criminal that wreak havoc on a society, you forfeit your human rights.
Well, exactly. I agree.
When the police come and babysit you when you're a killer.
Well, tell Jamaican for Justice that. And tell
that's why when you call a state of emergency, the Constitution is suspended. And that's why I said to Jimmy, you see this limited state of emergency?
Nonsense.
It's not going to yield.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's like a balloon. You squeeze one end, the air goes down here. You squeeze down here, it comes back up.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, and remember what I said to you yesterday when I spoke to you, Chopper John. You have to think about, the officers have to think about what happens at the end of the state of emergency, you know. Because you've given them pause now within the state of emergency. And I am saying that police officers and members of the JDF, it's not just police officers alone, are going to be reluctant in just discharging in firearm. Because after this, whether it's going to be for the 2 weeks or it's going to be for the 3 months, at the conclusion of the state of emergency, Indicom will know where it's ugly head.
Again.
I'm saying everyone who discharge a firearm, you need to come to my office and tell me why you discharge a firearm, why you did this and why you did that. And I'm saying I'm acting in a state of emergency in the best interest of the country, and I have to be going through so much because it has happened. It happened in the Tivoli incursion. It's not a question, right? I remember. I can't call the rank of the person from the JDF, but the person was adamant that if at any point in time members under his command has to go through any unnecessary rigors after acting in the capacity of the state, on the instruction of the state, they have to be going through any unnecessary rigors, then they will not be going through something like this again. Lo and behold, we have another state of emergency. What do you really think is going to happen? Listen to the Chief of Staff statement when he said that the members were refreshed in the human rights of citizens, how to handle citizens in a state of emergency.
It's not a state of emergency.
It's not. You get what I'm saying? You see, so we are tiptoeing.
Well, let me just add this, right? In the 2010 state of emergency in Jamaica,
yes,
crime dropped. So for a period of time, crime dropped from 2010 into 2011. So there are cases reported cases where crime do fall after the state of emergency, because I'm sure the police force and the military, they are seeking out, and because of the suspension of the Constitution, where they don't have to go in with a warrant, they don't have to say, hi, I have a warrant for. They go in,
and that's what I'm talking
and
about.
They take them out. You don't have to go knock on the door. You just go in and take out the criminal elements. So what I'm saying is, because of that state of emergency, it could work. It could potentially work for a period of time, as it did in 2010.
But I'm saying, look at the obvious now. In the middle, remember the shooting, the murder that took place, didn't take place in Westmoreland, it didn't take place in St. James. It took place 100 meters from where it took place within the state of emergency, and 100 meters from where the police officers were.
Exactly.
That in 2010, You may not know, but these two gentlemen know. These two, they know the information. In 2010, I'm telling you that when the state of emergency occurred in Tivoli Gardens, you could hear a pin drop in Clarendon. You could hear a pin drop in Clarendon.
Yeah, because you see, look, in 2010, you had reconnaissance aircraft hovering over Kingston, supplying information to the police. What we saw now, and we have enough time to plan this and plan it properly. What we're looking at now is a piecemeal approach.
Yes.
And while I support the effort of the Prime Minister wholeheartedly.
I support. Yeah, he's trying with this one.
It is not good enough, because let me tell you something, Clark. When you have a limited state of emergency and you use the powers under the state of emergency in the parish of St. James, and something happened, or in your investigation in St. James, you realize that there is a connection between a massive gun find in Mobile and Spanish Town. Okay? You cannot go to Spanish Town and pick up these people who connected to the gun find in St. James under a state of emergency now.
No.
You can't do that.
Right, because it's limited.
Because
It's limited.
The state of emergency is limited.
Yeah, it's limited
to St. James.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying you must have a national state of emergency. Shut the country down.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
Because
if you take a piecemeal approach to it, you're wasting your time.
There's a waste of time.
A lot of people said to me, you don't have enough resources. You don't need additional resources to make it a national state of emergency. Because what you need is not the boots on the ground. What you need is the powers.
It's the powers that come to the state of emergency.
Ability to go into any parish and pick up the purveyor of crime, pick up the known gangsters under state of emergency. Where they cannot go to a lawyer, you don't have to carry them in front of the judge within 48 hours. They cannot go to a lawyer and get bail, when they get bail the witness, or then get bail and they don't come up for the next 10 years. You don't have that risk. So when you go to the national state of emergency, it gives the security forces the ability to go to every corner in Jamaica and pluck out these guys.
Yeah. That's what you guys. You're watching Right Along here, and I have been looking in the chat room to get your questions, but I really want to get you guys' input. Sinclair.
Yes.
You are a motivational speaker, and I believe in inspiring people. I believe in showing people a better way that they could live. I believe if you inspire people, especially the young people, because the people that are on the streets killing people, gang violence is all the younger people. There's 17 and 15-year-old with AK-47, right? So do you believe that you and others like you need to be deployed in areas in Jamaica, in St. James, in St. Catherine North, in those places that have crime going on, whether it's high or whether it's not? Deploy people like you to inspire and talk to the people, because it doesn't seem like there is any kind of police, community police going on. They can't really, they don't trust the police. Do you think that you solve as a solution to this problem?
All right. Firstly, if you fight fire with fire, the entire place is going to burn down. If you fight fire with water, the entire place is going to flood out. There is power in the spoken word. You see how articulate my brother John is and how articulate my brother Chopper is? We can reach to these youngsters. In every person's chest, they beat a heart. I've met brothers that have done multiple murders, and they didn't want to do it. They were forced into it. One brother I met, he did his first murder when he was 12 years old. You know how he got involved in doing that first murder? He was going through one of them fences in one of those volatile areas, I won't call a name. And while he was going through the fence, he overheard 6 guys planning to kill an informant, a woman. And he overheard everything. You know what happened? They placed the gun in his hand and tell him that he has to go and kill the woman. He took the gun, went and killed the woman. And when I asked him, I said to him, I said, my brother, is there any of these murders that you feel remorseful about? And you know what he told me? He started to cry. He said that woman that he killed was the woman who wiped his nostril when his nose run. That woman that he killed was the woman who feed him when he was hungry. But at age 12 years old, he had no choice. It's either he kill this woman or be killed. There's no place he can run. And that is the truth of it. But if you reason with these youngsters, I've reasoned with a lot of known artists that today they were in gangs. And they're not in gangs anymore. I can call 3 names. I can call Turbulence the Future. I can call Mr. Gotti Gotti. And I can call Nesbeth, who lives in volatile areas, areas that are gang infested. And after my motivational intervention with these brothers, they are superstars today. None of them want to have anything to do with a gun. None of them. So I know we can change them with the power of words. And we have to be sincere, right? You can't be going there as a pastor looking to save souls. You can't be going there as a politician looking to gain votes. You have to be sincere. You have to be truthful. Be truthful and sincere with these young brothers. Trust me, we can save some of them. We might not be able to save all of them, but we can save some of them. There is hope. Trust me.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, there is multiple ways in this whole thing could be attacked, right? And I don't want to believe that Jamaica is doomed for failure, right? I think that there are a lot of people in the community that doesn't like the way how the community run. What, after the criminal elements are plucked out of those community, what kind of reconstructive efforts do you think John or Chopper could be done to help build back the community? Because if the community feel like they are a part of building, and the police again have some kind of relationship with the community policing, they feel more involved, so they don't want this back in their community. So as a way of building back, what do you guys think after this, say this was a success, what do you think that should be put in place to start back positive venture in the communities?
There's a zone of special operation that the government, an initiative by the Jamaica Labour Party, that has been out there. This is something that was discussed after the 2010 incursion at Tivoli Gardens. As you know, Tivoli Gardens was heavily bombarded and, you know, lots of damage. And I think what came out of that was the fact that you went in and you were able to surgically remove quote-unquote criminal elements that you needed to rebuild. Social intervention was top of the list. This zone of special operation that is now in effect carries with it all the amenities, all the perks for social intervention. Meaning they're going into these communities, hot spots as it is called, and they're providing people with identification. Some of these people didn't have any IDs. Jobs, getting them set up for jobs, getting resume together, getting them training, bringing the Heart Institute in to train people in different areas. I think that is a key. The zone of special operation is perhaps one of the single best initiatives we've seen in a long while. But here's the problem with it. Again, sometimes you have a good idea, and if it is not implemented properly, you run the risk of losing it, losing its effect. The Zozo, to me, is an excellent idea, and I think it has bear some fruit, because the areas, the geographic areas to which it has been implemented, there is zero crime. There is zero murder. Most of these people are getting training. That community, that area is coming back. But what you really need is a national Zozo. People will say we don't have the resources. Well, let me tell you something. We can't afford it. We cannot afford not to afford it.
Exactly.
We must afford it.
So we're spending billions of dollars on fighting crime.
Yes, you have to, because the crime is costing us.
Over there.
Yeah, the crime is costing us more than it would cost us to implement a national Zozo.
Exactly.
So all that needs again is the political will. And you have to accept that Zozo worked. It worked. But it's like a balloon. You squeeze one end, here comes down, you squeeze this, it goes up. If you're cutting a piece of grass, my brother, And if you cut one end, and if you cut it perfect, but you cut it too slow, by the time you get from point A to point B, point A would have already grown back up. So you'll be going around in circles. You're not achieving anything because you're doing it too slow. The same thing with Zozo. Because you're doing it in such a concentrated area, you're not getting the national effect. And that is what we need. We need a national effect. It's the same thing with the state of emergency. Lock the country down. Lock it down. Forget about tourists. Bear the blunt. Lose that tourism dollar for a month or 2 or 3 or 4, and you will gain it back tenfold when you come back.
Yeah. I guess that debate on locking the country down and losing tourism in a place like Jamaica is it won't be well taken by anyone in Parliament right now, because Jamaica rely heavily on its tourism industry, and a month or so with that influx of tourists, I know it's going to be hard for the country. But as you said, I understand what you're saying. I completely understand. I think that is necessary, because there are places in the Caribbean right now that has 0 murders. So I know that it could happen in Jamaica. I just think that there need to be a serious intervention. And also,
you know what I saw,
yeah,
you know what I saw, George, on the news this morning, and it was frightening. It was good, but it was frightening. In Sam Sharp Square in Montego Bay, there was an influx of tourists. And when the reporter was scanning the camera around, there were hardly any Jamaicans anywhere around. So I'm wondering what is happening and what will happen to the poor class of people who has to commute, who has to move around and do things and take care of their family. What is going to happen to these people?
Yeah, we have Claudia Glasgow is saying. Claudia Glasgow is saying, can the country afford to be locked down? Which I think is a very, very, very difficult. I mean, it makes sense to say it, but is it practical to lock a country down for even a month?
Okay, let's withdraw the lockdown as it interpreted. Okay, what we are saying is go with a national state of emergency. Come with social intervention nationally to back that up. A lot of people are scared of state of emergency because they're fearful that it will affect tourism negatively. I disagree. I totally disagree, because I believe that if it is marketed properly, if you communicate with your tourism partners that, look, we are taking some measures which is going to be to protect this product, I don't think that you get a negative backlash. Tourists prefer come to a country that has security than have thugs. Who do you prefer see on the street? Thugs or security forces?
Yeah. True, because the US, it makes sense. The US and the English folks have already put out advisory.
Travel advisory.
Travel advisory. The United States has put in travel advisory for entering Jamaica, and warns citizens in Jamaica right now to be very careful or stay within confinements because of what's happening in Jamaica. So that
is nothing to worry about, because under normal circumstances, under state of emergency, you want even your very locals that they have to be careful of how they travel and what they do. So that is nothing frightening. That is expected. And we're not the only country who has traveled. A matter of fact, I don't think it was a full-blown travel advisory against Jamaica. I think it was more of a caution. Be careful. Be mindful of your surroundings, which is natural. I don't see where it says to persons, don't go to Jamaica.
Well, no, that is a perception. Is a perception. If someone in London right now wants to travel to Jamaica or any part of the Caribbean, and something pops up on the television telling them there's a travel advisory, and they hear travel advisory, they hear criminal, they hear killing, they hear murders. That's all they need to hear. Those are the key words. So they don't have to hear all of this stuff. They're not interested in all of the details. It's just some fine things some fine words that they have to say, and they did say it. It is in the news brief.
Let me tell you what my humble opinion is in getting a full grip on this thing. It has been my plea from day one, and I'm gonna suggest it as my suggestion to it. All right, simple. As Chopper has indicated, that you need to have this lockdown effect, but since no one has the political will to do it like that, you know what I suggest? When it's gonna be, I'm sure it's gonna be back down, left, right, and center. I suggest that you suspend the powers of income for 3 months and give back the power to the police to fight crime, and let's see what happens. Suspend, don't disband them.
No, okay.
Don't put them. Just suspend the powers of income for 3 months. Allow the police officers to do the work. Remember, you know.
But John,
hold on. Any police officer who commit a breach thereafter will still be investigated. I'm not saying they won't be. But I'm saying give the police an opportunity to fight the crime without thinking that if I do this, then I will have such harsh implications.
But John, here's the backlash of that, John.
Yes.
You have police officers who are citizens just like yourself.
Yes.
They have friends, they have enemies, they have gangster friends, they have all of that stuff. Giving the police all that power by suspending Indicom for 3 months would see a rise in police brutality and killing for no particular reason because they don't like a particular person. What is going to police the police in the 3 months? Nothing. The police going to police themselves?
No.
That's not.
No. And don't get me wrong. Again, don't get me wrong. I am saying to you, if at any point in time within that 3 months, an act was committed that is obvious, say for what my friend would have brought to your attention, like a Carl 7 shooting, it won't be investigated by police. It will still be investigated by Indicom. It will still be investigated by Indicom. At least when the police officer is acting right here, right now, right? He knows that he has to act within the law and do not overstep. But after acting, he's not worried about going back to the police station and have to answer questions and have to find lawyer fee immediately.
What regulation
Why is it that the police is so afraid?
Because the police officers have been arrested for little or nothing. That's what I'm trying to get to, Chopper and Claude and the rest of the crew. The fact is, even if, just like I indicated to you, if taximen don't like you as a police officer and they report, Indicom is coming to arrest you. That is my point. So it's not about extrajudicial killing or murders committed by police. It's about a simple thing as somebody don't like you. And they say they hit them in the face, and they say they drape them. Indicom is coming to say they are going to place and arrest because a report was made against you. And
Indicom cannot arrest you under. Let me clear something up.
Yeah.
Can Indicom arrest you based on a report or based on an investigation?
It has to be based on an investigation. I mean, they will take action.
Absolutely.
Hold on. You would want to believe it's based on an investigation, but remember I gave you the number. That after 51 police officers that were arrested in the first quarter of 2017, Indicom was only able to take 3 matters to the court. Is that our investigation? How is that investigation? Oh, listen, Chopper, we're not about 10 people, Chopper. We're not about 10 police or 15 police. We're talking about 51 police officers. And you're only able to take 3 of the matters to court. Where's the investigation in that, Chopper? Let's be fair, man. There can't be an investigation in that. There's no way you can tell me that they investigated that matter thoroughly before they brought it before the court. No, they were just happy to hear that. Remember, I know, Chopper, and my host. Remember this: they are given the authority to investigate, to arrest, and to prosecute. You cannot prosecute nobody that has not been arrested. So it is in their vested interest to arrest. You get what I'm saying? It is within there without investigations, and they are humans. Why are we thinking that Indicom are above reproach than anybody else? Without anyone that has been arrested, there is no one to prosecute.
Yeah, but the police.
So it is within their best interest to arrest as much police officers as possible. Because when they go before the parliament to give an account, they say, look, see, I arrested 100 police last year. So when the chairman of the committee asks how many was prosecuted, we only prosecuted 3. Seriously? 3? And you have been given more modern technology and more sophisticated things to carry out the investigation than any other entity in Jamaica.
But that 51 should have been 51 officers indicted.
Yeah,
investigated.
Yes.
Yeah. Listen,
That's what
I just thinking about giving the police officers that indefinite ability to do whatever they want. without an oversight, you're looking at
No.
problems.
No, I'm not for that. I'm not for that. And that's the reason I'm saying, and I'm appealing to the PM and I'm appealing to the parliamentarians. All I want is a revise. It's just a revise and act to allow the police to feel comfortable in operating. Listen, just like you said, brother, in Maple Klein, where I work, I have family, and I have friends who I consider family, right? So I don't want anyone just because him have a thing with a man, him decides I'm going to shoot the man. I can't support that. I don't care which police is who. I'm not supporting that 100%. And if I have to go and give evidence against you, I'll do it myself. So I'm not supporting that, none at all. So I'm saying, and listen, gentlemen, let's be frank too. The cases that you know for a fact that is shaky, that has been reported by police, can't you identify them as an individual the minute you hear it? When you hear police give a report of a shooting that they're involved in, and you listen to the facts probably 2 or 3 weeks later, coming out in the news, don't you think within yourself, no man, this look shaky? You're able to identify these cases offhand, And the fact that Indicom over the past 8 years of existence has only been able to convict 8 police officers of murder, so to speak, or extrajudicial killing. It shows that the perception is greater than the actual reality. The perception is greater than actual reality because Indicom has never complained of, we don't have this to carry out our investigation, we don't have that. The only thing Indicom can say is that bringing it through the justice system is long and tedious. But that doesn't stop me from getting a conviction. It just takes a little while.
Let me just say this really quickly, guys.
Yes.
Here, someone asked a question. I know because we have multiple nationalities who watch the program. We have people from Grenada, we have people from Trinidad, all different. They have different names for it. So someone was asking, Chris Dixon was asking, what is Indicom? And let me just explain really quickly. You guys could add to it. Indicom is an oversight for the police. It's like a police for the police. It gets its legislation, it gets its power from Parliament. So the Parliament regulate. They basically the boss is Parliament, right? So they answer to Parliament, and they have the right to arrest and prosecute police officers that are doing wrong in the community. So it's an oversight. So what John was saying was that to get police officers to do their best job is to suspend Indicom for 3 months and let the police officers go there and do their own job. My rebuttal of this is I think that's giving the police officers too much power, because they might have beef with a friend, that they might use their power to go and kill somebody else, and then you have more problems. Because some people think that the biggest gangster is the police, That's
of course, Shopper John's perception is that the biggest gangster is the police. Shopper John will tell us what he believes.
So somebody have to oversight the big gangster,
It is a perception, and it's not the reality. No, understand what I'm saying?
So the case in the Supreme Court, the case in the Supreme Court right now, with the police officer who is the leader of one of the most notorious gangs in Jamaica. That's perception.
Do me a favor, Chopper John.
Yeah.
Give me the percentage of one police of 12,000 and tell me how much percentage of the police force is that.
John, look here.
But I said,
one car
listen.
A car full of Gramak zone.
Chopper, you cannot use that. Chopper, you cannot use that, and I'm going to rebut you. You can use it in your other analogy, but not in this one. And let me rebut it. You are of the opinion that is the police force that corrupt Jamaica. 12,000 people corrupt 2.8 million people. Yes. And I'm telling you that it is a corrupt society that corrupt the police force.
It has to be something. Right? It has to be that the police cannot be trusted. It has to be that the police, the police showed in some way, in some form, that they cannot be trusted. So they have to be oversight.
And I do agree. No, don't get me wrong. I do agree, and I don't want anyone to get to sidetrack from the point. I agree holistically. Police has caused this issue on them. They have nobody else to blame but themselves. And I can sit here as an ex-police and tell you, nobody is to blame but themselves. But it doesn't necessarily necessarily mean that because they have caused such great inconvenience on themselves that we have to we don't have to cow them down then or lock them down or take away their ability to fight crime completely. I am saying, let me get this out in 10 seconds. I'm saying in 2018, right here, right now, any police officer stupid enough to commit a murder, so to speak, under the disguise of being a police officer is easily identified. Tell me that I'm wrong, gentlemen.
Well, that's
In
true.
2018,
You're probably
it's
not
easy
wrong.
to identify.
But God,
Yeah,
you're on the ground and you know.
Uh-huh.
One thing I must say to John though, and I must say thank you, a big thank you to Junior and the Ridealong show, because it took us all the way here to get John to accept that the police actually
Yeah.
have this problem. I appreciate that, John.
No, but I keep hearing the police, but it's not true. Some are.
Some are.
Some of, yes, some of the police.
So John,
Yeah, it's some.
A handful.
if you're in a house,
Yes.
house with 10 men or
Yes.
10 youngsters
Yes.
who are criminals, right?
Yes.
And you claim that you're not criminals, but
Yes.
you're in a house with 10 criminals,
Yes.
and we bust into that house. You didn't call the police and say, hey, look, I'm in a house with some criminals. Come
Yes.
and get me. How should I treat you when I get there? I should treat you just like the criminals, because you're among them. You weren't held hostage.
And I
The
understand.
police are not held hostage.
And I understand, but
John, listen to this. And I'm
Yes.
going to get this
The
here, but I
police is
want you
working
guys
on
to
the
listen.
cover.
Junior, Claude, I want you to listen to this carefully.
Okay.
If the police force cannot weed out the corruption within the 12,000 men and women among themselves, if them can't separate the corrupt, John says only 100 police corrupt within the force. And if the other 10,900.
No, it's actually 11,900. Correction.
Yes, 11,900. Thank you. If they cannot weed those out, Junior, how are they going to fight crime on a national scale? Tell me.
let me try to respond to you.
Yeah.
Now, I do understand that it is the responsibility of the police officers to help in weeding out corrupt police officers within the
Not
force.
help to do it.
Hold on, but police officers can. Police officers can. Police officers can. At this stage, I don't think police officers can arrest and charge another police officer like that unless he is. Hold on, unless he is found to have committed the crime. So, say for argument's sake, let me tell you what I'm saying. So, if somebody come and say, John, Soup, you know, somebody said John had a party last night with some gangster, and me no think say, you know, something must be wrong with him. He cannot be amongst these sort of men.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing the Soup can do there and then is launch an investigation. And how can he do that? You're going to need somebody to technically follow me around, to investigate me. You get what I'm saying? It's just like investigating a regular criminal. Unless you're going to arrest me. Because you're going to need the evidence, and the only way you're going to get the evidence is unless I commit myself. Listen, it is it is morally wrong. And the superintendent can probably write a recommendation to the commissioner and say this officer is acting in a manner below the standard of a police officer and should his contract should not be renewed. Fine, but that takes 5 years. Remember, I said the safest job in Jamaica is police, so they can't just get up and fire you, my friend. It does take a little time. So I'm saying the responsibility is there for the police officers to act. But I'm still saying police officers cannot act without evidence unless you have a team designated to follow, to investigate, to create a case file on these police officers. Then it's not going to happen.
Conspiracy. You know that word, conspiracy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're hanging out with gangsters and gangsters are committing crime, then you're conspiring with them.
But all right. But let me ask you this question, though, my brother.
Guys, we have about 2 minutes. We have about two more minutes live on the program. I know this is gonna have to continue another day, so we're gonna have to wrap it up soon. As engaged in the conversation.
Tell me a second, though.
Yeah.
Give the police them props, though, because it was not Indicom that arrested the officer you're talking about. That is before the Supreme Court. It wasn't Indicom that arrested him. It was regular police officers.
Yes.
And I know of another police officer. And I know of another police officer who was arrested probably like 2 years ago. He was traveling in a car with men with guns, and he was arrested by regular police officers. Not by Indicom, not by any external. But I'm saying to you, you have to catch them. That's what I'm saying. You have to catch them. At the end of the day, my wrap up is this: if you want police to go out there and fight crime more vigorously with all their heart, you have to give them. You have to free up their hands. You have to revise the Indicom Act, give them a break, allow them to fight crime the way crime should be fought. Right? It can't be with handshake. It can't be tiptoeing around it, and it can't be high and low, sir. We have to fight crime. It's a fight. That's what you guys call a fight. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Sinclair, you want to wrap up? What do we got to do? How do we end it? How do we go forward?
I agree with my brother Alan. I agree with him very, very much. We have to, it's a serious thing that we're facing down here in Jamaica. People are scared. People are frightened to go out of their house. I'm telling you, people are very, very scared down here. So what I'm saying is that attack the problem at the root, though. Go into the communities. These are the people that are committing crime. Find out what is the problem, why you're doing this, and see if we can deal with this thing. Get to the people. And if you get to the people, you can get to crime.
I got you. Very good. Chopper, what you got to say?
Yeah, man, and just to follow up on what Claude had said a while ago, the zone of special operation, which carries with it the social intervention program, I think it's perhaps one of the best things and should be widened. We should find the money and go with a national goal.
Yes.
Go into these communities, provide opportunities, provide training, and at the same time, seriously think about dismantling the police force and rebuilding it with credibility, pay them more money, give them a better working condition, give them a better living condition, increase the numbers, and you will see a safer and more productive.
And revise the income. Don't forget revise the income.
Yes, he's not giving up. He's not giving up. He's not giving up. Johnny's not giving up on that at all. Guys, my Jamaican friends, I would like to thank you guys so much for joining me on the program. I think it was a great conversation, and I hope that our audience were able to learn a lot about what has been done right now from a law enforcement perspective, from a motivational perspective. I think the conversation has just started. We have not I don't think we're anywhere close to solving the problem. At least we started the conversation. So nobody could blame us for not starting the conversation. I think we did well here in letting the information get out there, because there's a lot of people from different areas, from different countries that's watching, so they have a better sense of understanding as to what's happening in Jamaica. So I want to say thank you guys for joining us on the program, and we definitely should have this discussion again some other time.
Anytime.
Big up. Anytime.
All right.
Just let me know.
No respect.
Thank you very much, God.
Chopper, take care. Claude, take care.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Respect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, that was my homeboys and them in Jamaica. Guys, let me tell you something. It's a big problem. And if you might say, well, this is happening in Jamaica. This is not happening in my turf. It's not happening in Grenada. It's not happening in Carriacou. It's not happening in my turf. But it's happening in the Caribbean, and it affects every single one of us. Because a lot of people from abroad, from the diaspora, they look at the Caribbean as a territory. So when they, in terms of tourism, some of them don't only single out Grenada or Jamaica. They say, I'm not going to the Caribbean because of the heightness of crime that's involved there. Like someone might say, they're not going to Chicago because they heard of crime in Chicago. The crime in Chicago is isolated for not the entire Chicago. So we don't want that kind of stigmatization on our Caribbean region. So we need to engage every aspect of this here. The Jamaicans, the Trinidadians, the Grenadians, the Vincentians, we all have a part to play in ensuring that our region continue to be a bliss. When someone think about it, they want to come to the Caribbean. They want to be a part of our experience. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, you can always join us here every day, Monday to Friday, right here on the Ride Along, 6 p.m. Went a little bit overtime today, but you guys understand. I couldn't cut it short. I couldn't cut it short. We had to go full force. Thanks to John, Chopper, and Claude. We're going to have this discussion again. Thank you guys so much. Guys, to the folks in Jamaica, if you have a story to tell, please link us up right here. We want to hear your story. Inbox us, Ride Along Live. Facebook.com/Ride Along Live. Tell us your story right here on the Ride Along. We appreciate you. We thank you, all of our sponsors. And you too could be a sponsor and reach our audience here. Inbox us as Ride Along Live, Facebook.com/Ride Along Live. To all of our sponsors, I say thank you so much for being a part of our Ride Along experience. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Peace out, everybody.